guys, it's Gina from Orchid and Opal Jewelry and Beads. I'm here today with another tutorial, and it is the tutorial for the Chevron Crescent necklace design that I've come up with. I was inspired by a little snippet that looked like this on Pinterest, and I have no idea where it came from. There's no information on the picture really. It was just a couple of these chevron shapes made by these two-hole crescent beads, and so I decided to take that and kind of run with it and do a necklace design. And like I like to do a lot, I've decided to do a front portion and a back portion with the chain. You probably could do the entire thing like this, although just beware, I've not tried it, so I don't know if it will flip around on you or anything funny like that. But I'll show you what we'll be using today for this tutorial, and I'm so excited to get started. So I did another variation on the necklace, just adding a drop to the front. Here is the necklace in two other colors. So you're going to be using two different colors of these two-hole 10mm Czech glass crescent beads to make your chevron. You're also going to be using some 11/0 seed beads, and you can see here that instead of just leaving the front of the necklace like this, I have added a drop, and that's something that you can do if you like the look of that if you want, or you could add a charm, or you could just leave it like that, just like we did in the original, just like I did, I should say, in the original design. These three beads here are two-hole 6mm Czech glass cabochon beads, and you could pretty much use any 6mm two-hole round beads that you have. They don't have to be the flat back cabochons, so just anything that has two holes like that, and I suggest rounded so that it gives you that nice V shape in the front of the contour, so it'll contour around the neck nicely. You'll definitely want it to have that V shape. If you don't, it would fit more like a choker and you'd need it around your neck. Or if it, if you tried to have it lower on your neck, it would flip out like that and wouldn't fit quite right. So today we're going to be using these two different purple color crescents. I also have decided on this drop here that I just got. I love this color. It's a chalk Vega luster in the purple color here, and I'm going to use that dangling off. These are some 6mm Czech glass two-hole cabochon beads, but they're pointed at the top. I didn't have a chance to look up the specific name of those, but again, as you can see, it could be any 6mm two-hole round beads in order for you to achieve the same look. And then our 11/0 seed beads. You will need 32 of each color of the two-hole crescents, so 64 two-hole crescents altogether, and then 3 of the 6mm beads. You'll also need, or I suggest, wire guardians, and I'll have the links to a lot of these products below if you need to know where you might be able to purchase them. I will have some links, and here's some chain. So I'm going to be finishing the back of mine with some chain. I get my chain from all over. I get asked a lot, where do I buy my chain? I get a lot of it in the various bead subscriptions that I belong to, so I get it that way, and I also get a lot on eBay, really all over. And it's silver-plated brass. It's not sterling silver chain, full silver or anything like that. If you do have trouble with tarnishing, I do suggest you try to use a lot of the stainless steel rather than silver-plated brass, just because some people do have trouble with their chain tarnishing. I haven't had too much trouble with it. I also suggest using a 6-pound fire line. This is my go-to beading thread. I use it for all my bead weaving. This is the color Crystal. It also comes in a smoke color. And you can see here that I actually buy my rolls in 300 yards. Yes, that is a lot of thread, but I do a lot of bead weaving, and I love this thread. It's all I use. So you'll also notice this does not say anything about beading on it. It is actually a fishing product that you can even find in, I've heard, like Dick's Sporting Goods, for example. But on Amazon, I actually buy it in the fishing section as well, directly through Berkeley, and it's about $30 for 300 yards, but that is actually cheaper per yard than the smaller rolls. So if you do a lot of bead weaving, I do suggest looking into that and maybe investing in a nice big roll, and I will have the link for that below as well. Besides that, you'll also need, of course, a beading needle, and you'll need scissors and pliers And by the way, I'm also using about 5 feet of beading thread. And don't forget your clasp and any jump rings you might need. So without further ado, let's jump into this tutorial. We're going to start out our design by stringing on 2 crescents with a 11-0 seed bead in the middle of the top holes. And we're actually going to leave enough tail on this so that we'll be able to add our wire guardian and finish up the side of this after we complete the entire piece. Just the way I prefer to do this design. So let's go ahead, pick up your needle, decide which color you want to be first on the end, and pick up one of those crescents. So I'll just go ahead and start with this color. And I have my crescent here like this. I'm going to go through this hole right here. Okay, and then I'm going to pick up an 11-0. And I'm going to pick up another crescent in that same color, and I want to make sure I'm going through the same hole so that the curve is on the same side, just like that. And then pull these down and leave yourself a good 10-inch tail. That way you have plenty to add your wire guardian on and make your knots and go through the thread and secure it. Okay, I'm not adding a stop bead. You can do that if you'd like, but I'm just holding my beads here and I will hold them in place, and I think it will be just fine. I don't usually have a problem. So hold your beads like this, and you want to string on 3 more 11-0 seed beads. Okay, so you've put on 3 seed beads, and you're going to go through the bottom hole of this crescent right here. Just like that. And now you're in between these 2 crescent beads. So you want to go ahead, pick up your other color of crescent. You may want to line it up with your fingers so it's ready to go, but you're going to be going through the top hole of this crescent now. You're coming out of the bottom hole of this one. You're going to go through the top hole of this crescent. Okay. And just, you're going to have to kind of hold these with your fingers till it gets going, and that's okay. Just take your time. Now pick up an 11-0 and then get your other crescent bead positioned so that you'll be able to go through the top hole of that one right there, and then through the bottom hole of your first color. And this will make more sense as you start to practice with it, and then pull it nice and tight so you have something like that. Once you get to this point, it starts to hold together better and it's a little bit easier. Make sure you keep that nice 10-inch tail at the back so you'll be able to go back through and add your wire guardian later. Okay, now you want to pick up 3 more 11-0 seed beads. And then you want to go through the bottom hole of that second color crescent right there. And then you want to pick up your first color, get your crescent positioned. We're coming out of the bottom hole of this one. We want to go into the top hole of this color right here. And pull it down just like that. Okay, so it's going to sit like that. Then you're going to pick up another 11-0 and you're going to pick up another crescent in that same color, making sure you have it positioned correctly, and go through the top hole of that. Of course, the top hole would be blocked. I would pick that one up, right? Oh boy. Alright, so go through the top hole of that one. And again, these get a little wonky, but once you get going, it gets a lot easier. Just play around with them and get them positioned right, and then go through the bottom hole of that color and pull everything together, holding it with your thumb and forefinger, and then with your other hand, give it a good tug like that, and it's going to pull everything together. So I think you can see what we're starting to do here. So then you want to pick up 3 more 11-0s. You're going to go through this bottom hole here, pull, pick up your next color, get it into position, go through the top hole of that. Okay, pick up another seed bead, and then pick up another one of those crescents and go through the top hole and then the bottom hole of the one on the side. And this is all you do all the way down the first half of the necklace, and you can do this to make it as long as you want. I have done 16 rows, so I did 8 of each color and then stopped here. You can do this longer or shorter depending on how big you want this piece to be. Okay? If you want to make it exactly like I did, we're going to do 16 rows on each side. So at this point, we want to pick up 3 more seed beads. Once again, go through this bottom hole. Okay, pick up your next color, get into position and go through the top hole of that. Pick up another seed bead and pick up another crescent going through the top hole, and then go through the bottom hole of the crescent on the side. So this isn't a project I would suggest for somebody who is very new to beading in terms of like you've never done bead weaving before. You know, start with your 1-hole beads first and work your way up. It's definitely not hard. It just takes a little bit of finagling to get the beads to lay how you want them until the pattern starts going. And so it can take a little bit of patience and a little bit of practice, even for somebody who knows what they're doing. I think anytime you work with a new pattern, you know, you can experience that, and that's okay. Practice makes perfect, so don't get frustrated if it doesn't work out right away. Just keep playing with it, and I promise it's gonna look really nice. So you don't have to variegate the colors like I did. You could do this all the same color crescent. This is just a look that I wanted to try out, especially with the black and white design. I love a good black and white design, and I love the way it stands out in that chevron pattern. I think it looks so cool. And of course I wanted to try this pattern in several different color options so you guys could get an idea of what it might look like depending on what colors you chose or how much contrast there was in the colors. So we're just going to keep going till we have our 16 rows. And if you've been with me for a little bit on my channel, you'll know that I've been finding some nice deals on these 2-hole crescent beads at EurekaCrystalBeads.com. And I'm not affiliated with them or anything. For me, I've searched through a lot of online bead sites, and for the money, it seems like they have some of the best deals there. I've been getting 20-gram packs for around $7–8, but then they run like 30% off sales from time to time. So for 20 grams, that's quite a bit. I haven't seen that quantity of these beads sold at any of the other online stores. They're usually in a lot less quantities, which is okay if you don't want to have a big quantity of one color like I do sometimes. I also found them on Etsy. Lots of different sellers have them on Etsy if you're interested in getting smaller quantities of different colors. And then of course there's all kinds of other online bead stores you can find these at. And see, this is coming along nicely. These are the metallic suede variety. I actually got these two colors on Etsy, and my last video was a haul from that seller. It was called Queen City Bead, and I took a chance on her shop, and she had lots of really nice colors, and she shipped these things in 2 days, so that was really cool. And the shipping was pretty reasonable. But if you're interested in that haul to see what other colors I got and what they were called, definitely check that out. And I do want to mention to you guys too, if you do like tutorials and specifically like the designs I'm coming up with and the tutorials that I'm creating here on YouTube, I have set up a Patreon account at patreon.com, and that information is below. And what that is, it's basically a way to support artisans that you're interested in that is much more personalized and regular than YouTube. So basically you can support your favorite artisans on Patreon by becoming a patron. And there's different levels of subscriptions, like I have a $1 option, a $5 option, a $10 option. And basically every month you can get discounts to my online shop if you sign up as a patron. If I reach a certain level on Patreon, one of my goals is to create some custom tutorials just for my patrons. So if that's something that you like to do, you like to support artists, artisans, and you happen to be interested in that, go check it out. No obligation, doesn't hurt my feelings if you don't. You can always sign up for free as well, and anything that I post here on YouTube, of course, you'd be able to see there. But again, you know, the perk of it is that you'd be able to get some discounts to my online store regularly, and it helps to keep me going, helps me to be able to purchase more supplies and also any equipment I might need for filming. I'm using a very, very crude method for filming that you guys may be surprised by, that I'm not going to get into right now. It's a setup that I toyed around with and I think it works great, but I do not use any high-tech equipment at all. I do not. I use what I have, make the best of it, figure out how to work with it, and do the best I can with what I have. But I just want to let you know that my Patreon is there if you happen to be interested in that. Okay, so once you guys have 16 rows or however many rows you want and you're ready to work on the middle section, go ahead and stop the video here and come back and we'll work on the middle and keep going. Alright, so at this point you've finished one side and you're ready to start the middle, and we're going to be working on that. So we're going to be working with our 3 6mm 2-hole beads, and if you have any kind of a drop, it's going to dangle off of this right here. So we're going to be coming up out of this bottom crescent bead and we're going to be stringing on our first 6mm bead. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's get everything into position here. So we're going to be popping in this bead in between these 2 crescents, and we're going to be going through the left hand side of that bead. So we're going to go up through, remember we're coming out of here, we're going to go up through the left hand side and then up through that crescent bead there. Okay, and just pull everything nice and tight. And remember, just to keep a nice tension on this, and it might Take a minute to get everything into position like you want, but just take your time. You'll get there. Okay, so we have that bead popped into place, and we want to add on 5 11-0 seed beads. So let's pick up 5 11-0 seed beads. Okay, and we're going to go down through the right hand side of that 6mm bead. Okay, just like that. And now let's get our next 6mm bead into position. So the holes need to be going up and down. And we want to go down through the left hand side. Okay, so do that and pull it nice and tight. And just take it a minute to get everything positioned how you want it. It's going to look like that. And this is the bead that you're going to be hanging something off of. So I'm going to be hanging this teardrop off of this bead, and I'll need to position a couple of seed beads on either side. And just for reference, you'll need to just see, depending on if you do decide to dangle something off, you may need to adjust the amount of seed beads. This one I had 3 seed beads on either side because the top of this bead was a little bit taller. So I needed that in order for this to lay properly. With this particular drop, I think 2 will work just fine. So I'm going to pick up 2 seed beads. I'm going to string through the top of my teardrop and pick up 2 more seed beads. Okay, and then we want to go up through the right hand side of the 6mm bead. Just like that. And pull everything and see how it looks. Okay, so I'm happy with how that looks, definitely. And we want to position our next 6mm into place. The holes going up and down, and we're going to go through the left hand side hole of that one. Okay, so it looks like that. And then we want to go through these first 2 seed beads right over here. Of those 5 that we put on, we're going to go through those last 2. And that's going to kind of hold these things together. Remember, just make sure everything's pulled together nicely. Okay, and then we're going to be putting on 3 more 11-0 seed beads. I'm going to set this down so I can pick those up. Okay. And then at this point we're ready to start with our crescents again. So we're going to be continuing on the other side, and you want to pick up another one of those crescents in the same color that's on the opposite side here. And it's going to sit just like this. So you're going to go through this hole, and then you're going to go down through this 6mm bead on the right hand side. So you've got your 3 seed beads on the back of that. Pick up your crescent and then go down through that 6mm bead like that. So that's what you should have. And then at that point you're going to be adding your next crescent, which is going to sit like this, and you want to go down through this bottom hole of that crescent. So I'm going to set that down because this is a handful. Okay. So you should have this. Now you want to pick up 3 more. I'm going to dump out these seed beads, that way I can pick those up with my needle. You're going to pick up 3 more seed beads, and then pick up your next color that you'll be using of your crescents, and just go ahead and kind of get it in position. So it's going to be like that. You've got your 3 seed beads, and you're going to go through the bottom hole of that new crescent you're putting on, the top hole of that crescent that you already have on, and just take a minute to get everything positioned. Okay, so then you want to pick up a seed bead and put that in the middle of these two. Pull that seed bead down and go through the bottom hole there of that crescent bead. So you have this, and then get your next color and get it in position. Go through that bottom hole there, or I should say the top hole of that crescent there. And sorry if there's noise, the trash truck is just rolling through. Perfect timing as always. Alright, so you're coming out of that hole there. You want to string on, of course, 3 more seed beads to continue with the pattern. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and get our next crescent into position. So we've got 3 seed beads on here. We're going to go through this hole here of our next color crescent and keep staggering them like we did on the other side. Okay, so we're at this point and we need to pop an 11-0 seed bead in between. So pick up another 11-0. Like that. Okay. And then your crescent bead. Okay. 3 more seed beads. Okay. So I think you guys get the idea. You want to make sure that you just do as many rows on this side as you did on this side, and if you want to make it symmetrical, and then we will come back and finish the ends of our necklace on either side using those wire guardians and put our chain on, and it's going to look so great. So just keep going and then we'll meet back here to finish the piece. Alright guys, so we're at the point where we can put on our wire guardians and finish up our necklace. So this is the point that we're going to be working on now, where we're going to be finishing up with a few more seed beads and adding our wire guardians, going through our beads a couple more times, making some half-hitch knots and making it nice and secure. So we finished up our side here at this point where you should be coming out of your crescent. Right here, this is the very last crescent. You've got seed beads up here, seed beads down here. We're going to go ahead and string on 3 seed beads and one side of our wire guardian. So you should have that. I'm going to set this down so I can pull it down. Okay. And then we're going to go through the other side of our wire guardian. Make sure our thread sits in that little groove. I absolutely love these wire guardians. I get them on Amazon, and like I said, I'll have the product link below if you're interested. I use them all the time now. They make pieces feel nice and secure and look finished, and I just really like them. So then we're going to go through the top hole here of this crescent bead after we've strung on 3 more seed beads on that side. So just go through there, and we're going to be popping that wire guardian into place. So it looks like that. And we're just going to go through that one more time. So go through that middle seed bead that's right there. Continue through on the thread path and go through that next crescent. Make sure everything's pulled nice and tight. I'm actually going to go ahead and make a little half-hitch knot here. So I'm just going to go under my existing thread that's right there. It makes a little loop, and I'm going to go through the loop. We're going to do that several times, pulling that tight. And then we're going to go through some more beads, go up through the wire guardian again. We're going to go back down through the wire guardian again. I'm going to go through these 3 beads, and again make sure your thread pops right into place in that groove there. I'm going to go under that thread and make another little loop and make another half hitch knot there. I'm going to go through the crescent bead again, and I'm going to complete this one more time. And that's going to make it nice and secure. You don't have to follow the exact same thread path. You can do a different variation on that, whatever you're comfortable with. If you don't have wire guardians, you can just make a little loop with seed beads and reinforce it by going through it several times in a similar fashion. This time I'm going to go down through these. And this is exactly what you'll do on the other side where we hadn't added our guardian to that side, so I'm not going to do that on camera. But if you get the hang of this side, you do the exact same thing on the other side. So I've made several knots along the way, and I've gone through several beads again. And this just, again, adds some strength and makes it so that our thread is nice and tight and shouldn't come apart. Okay, so that's how it looks. I'm going to go ahead and do the other side, then we'll come back and we'll add our chain, and then we'll get everything finished up. Okay, I just love how this is turning out. It's so pretty. I love it. Alright, so I just wanted to show you real quick too that you can also make a bracelet with this design by doing the exact same thing. So basically, you're going to make your whole bracelet like you're making one side of the necklace. So to make a easy coordinating bracelet, just do the same thing like you're making one side of the necklace, and then add your ends on either side and your clasp. Simple as that. So just wanted to show you that I did try that, and it's definitely easy to do. Okay, so let's go ahead and add our chain. So I'm going to be using some jump rings here. So I'm going to pop one of those underneath the wire guardian and then add one of my sections of chain. Okay, just like that. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And if your jump rings are not as pliable as mine are, you'll just want to use another set of pliers to twist them the sides away from each other, but I'm able to just do it with my finger. So slip that underneath this side of the wire guardian. Add your other piece of chain or whatever you want to do. Just like that. Pop that back into place. Okay. And you can see how nicely this will lay around the neck. See that shape you get since you have that section in the middle. So let's go ahead and let's see our lobster. I'm going to put it on that side because I'm right-handed. So I'm going to open up another jump ring and pop it on that side. And this side is pretty much good to go unless you wanted to add another type of extender to your chain and finish it off that way. I'm just going to leave it as is because the chain that I'm using, the links are so large that I can just grab any of those with the lobster claw. So there you go, guys. That is the Chevron Crescent necklace, and I hope yours turned out beautifully as well. Definitely, if you have leftover beads from doing this and you want a coordinating bracelet, definitely give that a try. As always, please feel free to send me any pictures of your finished jewelry. I definitely love to share those on my Facebook page. You can find all my social media links below and how to contact me. Please let me know if you have any questions or comments down below because I love to hear from you, and don't forget to check the information section below the video for some helpful links and a materials list for you to find out what you need for this project. So I hope this was a fun project for you guys. Hope it was easy to follow. And as always, I appreciate you being here, and I hope to see you on my next video. Bye, guys! If you enjoyed this video, I'd love you to give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell if you'd like to see more of my videos, and check out the video description section to follow along on all of my social media handles, visit my Etsy shop, and check out my new website and blog at orchidandopal.com. Thanks for watching!